Uh, this is going to be very interesting. You know, I am deeply. I just want to first of all thank all of you that are tuning in this morning. Here again, my name is Fonton Daniel. There is a chaotic that is going on in Douala, the neighboring country, La Republique DU Cameroun. So, and many more. So, we're going to talk and see how the dictatorship military of La Republique and how are we going to move forward. This is a very terrifying story that is coming up, and one will expect to have a genuine military government of the country. The purpose of the military is to protect the civilians' populations. But in this case, we have a military of the neighboring country that is intended to destroy the very people that they're supposed to be protecting, and many more. And who is Barrister Michel Ndoki? So we're going to be talking about more about those. And I want to thank you for joining in. Here again, my name is Fonton Daniel, here from the great state of Texas, here in the United States. Stay tuned. Make sure you share. It's going to be a very interesting message today. Thank you, Ayuk. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Vivian, for joining in. I want to thank all of you for tuning in again. Today, thank you, Bertrand. Thank you, Yvette Bright. Thank you. It is quite amazing. It is quite devastating. You all see the images. We're going to be talking more again about the ongoing chaos this scene. You all know about the recent elections that took place in the neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroun. You know the fierce battle that was going on about the lawyer. You may have heard the name or you may have forgotten. Barrister Michel Ndoki. She is a very brilliant lawyer and she stood up fiercely. And I am regret to tell you that she was shot, although she is still alive. But the question is, that's the government that you want to have, the government of a terrorist that deviate from the right truth about the citizens, but choose a single individual over the wish of the people and turn the gun inward against the people that stand to advocate for a defined society. But that is the military of the neighboring country, La Republique, because you have a certain chronic regime that has been in power and they do not want to change. Then you're going to be very, watch these images. This is a live bullet that is going on in Douala. The military has the audacity and shooting live bullet on civilians that are demonstrating for liberty, freedom. Let's watch. That is the military of the neighboring country this morning. You may not have heard. It is sad indeed that the military this morning in Douala, that the military has the audacity to carry on live bullets on civilians that are demonstrating equality, freedom, liberty. You have one single individual that has been in power for 36 years, and now he's going to be going to 37 years. Despite the fact that we have all the brilliant people that are capable, that can manage the government of La Republique, but we have one individual that is suffering from mental psychosis, and that is the person that this terrorist military that's supposed to protect citizens, yet they turn the gun towards civilians that are asking for equality. They're asking for freedom. They're asking for freedom for the government that protects them. And that is why you have this terrorist military that turned the gun towards the civilian. Let's look at Barrister Ndoki that was shot this morning. That is Barrister Ndoki. That's Barrister Ndoki that she was shot this morning and she has been rushed to the hospital. And I believe hopefully she's doing well. We have a strategy and we have a plan. And those military, either they choose to live in A2D with phobia, or they shouldn't live among the citizens at the neighborhood. I think that's the plan. Either the military, they choose to live in A2D, or they don't exist anymore. Because when you have people that the military ignore their fundamental value, but they choose one single individual, that is phobia, who has mentally deranged. He is mentally deranged. That's Barrister Ndoki, who you might not have known Barrister Ndoki. Let's look at Barrister Ndoki on stage in the last election, that the potential individual that should have won the election should have been Professor Maurice Kanto. But however, the disgusting military choose to support an individual that is mentally deranged, which is phobia. We're going to come out to those in details. That is Barrister Ndoki in these images that you're seeing. And the gunshot. You can see the wounds. You can see the wound. That's an open area that was directly fired by the military of La Republique. That someone that stands fiercely to fight for liberty, freedom, equality for his fellow citizens, that they have a place called a country. But unfortunately, the military choose one single individual, and that is phobia, as the prince and the king of Cameroon, the neighboring country. And that is why they turn the gun towards the civilians. Those are lawyers. Those are people that are mentally capable to manage the country within a defined period. Paul Biya is mentally deranged. And if you see him wandering, you will absolutely believe with me that Paul Biya is mentally deranged. But however, the military that has no reciprocal to understand this fundamental value, but they choose to side with a mentally deranged individual. Paul Biya, let's who is Barrister Ndoki? This is Barrister Ndoki that fiercely defends Professor Maurice Kamto in a court case where you have a barbaric monkey that was picked from the forest and implanted as chief judge, and he stands there like an animal, then like a wolf that is being picked up from the forest, and that is a monkey. I don't know where they got him from, because they were implanted to stand and make decisions to put this terrorist individual called Paul Biya in what we now know as the president, the king of La Republique. Listen to Barrister Ndoki.
Because a mental and cultural reflection to arrive at that. Le vote n'est donc pas, Monsieur le Président, Madame et Messieurs les conseillers, un geste anodin. Et l'un d'entre vous, que j'ai eu du plaisir à découvrir, l'a bien compris, et je suis sûre qu'il n'est pas le seul ici. Le 7 octobre, à l'issue d'une campagne acharnée, une des plus belles, je crois même pour beaucoup, la plus belle qu'ait connue notre patrie, les Camerounais qui remplissaient les critères étaient appelés à choisir celui qui allait devenir, pour les 7 années à venir, le président de la République. Beaucoup ont répondu à l'appel. Et depuis, nous argumentons, nous conférons devant la presse, soit que les conseillers. Ça veut dire.
That is the person that was picked up from the forest. From the forest, I don't know which part of the forest was picked up and placed as the judge to make decisions that will affect the people of La Republique DU Cameroun. And that is the person. I don't know if he's mentally capable. He's absolutely, whether he's capable to make decisions. And that is why Paul Biya is in power. You know, this is absolutely pathetic. This is Douala scene this morning. This is the Douala scene this morning. Just take an eye and watch. This is what is happening right now as I'm speaking in Douala. Douala is in chaos because of the brutal military wing of the neighboring country, La Republique DU Cameroun. You can see live ammunition are being shot on the street against civilians that are protesting for a fraudulent election for someone that shouldn't have been in that position. That is what is going on live in Douala, the neighboring country, La Republique DU Cameroun. You can watch. As you can watch, this is what is going on live in Douala. So And if you look at the image of this individual, it seems it's a 4-star commissioner. Because when you look at the images, I'm sure that I can zoom the images for you to be able to visualize. So this should be a 4-star commissioner of the police in Douala. That is a person that is shooting the gun. And this individual is shooting a live bullet. Because when I look at the badge, it's showing that it's not just an ordinary police that is shooting, it's a 4-star commissioner of La Republique police force. And you can see either it's a 4-star, and that 4-star is showing that that is the person that's supposed to maintain discipline. That is a 4-star commissioner that's supposed to maintain a discipline. That this is citizens protesting for liberty, for freedom, for equality. But when you find a 4-star police commissioner open fire directly to the public, to the population, then he doesn't have to be in that position. He should have been in jail. That is why this is what Douala must arise and terminate every military, either the military of La Republique or Douala, if you are listening. There should be no citizens, there should be no military in the neighborhood. Check your neighborhood, from neighborhood to neighborhood. Check any military that lives in your neighborhood must leave. Any military, because they can stand and support a dictatorship over the discipline of the people. Then this is what you must do. Every military, check your neighborhood. Any military that is in your neighborhood doesn't have to be there. Get them out of the neighborhood. All military in your neighborhood, tell them, let them use their gun, and then you eliminate them in your neighborhood. Either Douala or Yaoundé. As you watch these messages, all citizens convert to your neighborhood, hunt every neighborhood, and find out any military of La Republique that is in your neighborhood. Get rid of them. Give me a minute, I'll be back. As the military opened their fire against the innocent civilians that are protesting for equality and liberty. So this is what you must do. You must get to the neighborhood in Douala, Yaoundé. Every military that is in your neighborhood, hunt them out, get them out, because they must stand with the people or they stand with one single individual. That is Pobia. If Pobia is the ultimate of La Republique military, then the military shouldn't be in your neighborhood. Get back to the neighborhood. Any individual that has a military of La Republique in your neighborhood, get them out. Everything destroyed. That is the right thing to do. Because the military is supposed to protect the citizens. But when the military choose one single individual over the sovereign will of the people and shot them indiscriminately, open fire indiscriminately. But what you must do is get rid of any military family that live in your neighborhood. That is what you must do. That is what you must take in. Every neighborhood, hunt them. And if you know any military, let them know so they take them out. They must be living in a duty. That is where the military must be living. They shouldn't be in the neighborhood because your neighborhood belongs to you. Since they want to impose one individual upon your own will, then you denounce that individual and get the military. No military should be in your neighborhood this night. Get them all out in Douala. This is the time. The time is scarce. Barrister Ndoki has no single gun. Barrister Ndoki is a simple civilian fighting for equality of every citizen of La Republique. But since the military want to use their gun because this individual is a 4-star commissioner. I don't know who that is. It's a 4-star commissioner. That open fire. Let's listen to. Let's listen to. That is a 4-star commissioner. Open fire on an unarmed civilian. And that is why Barrister Ndoki was shot this morning in Douala. So therefore, let the citizens see how many military do they have over the population of Douala. So therefore, no military should be living in a neighborhood. Get them out. If anyone that is renting to any person or he has a home in your neighborhood, fish them out. Je dis que tout le monde qui restait à la neighborhood, si vous le connaissez qu'il y a un individu qui restait à la neighborhood, il faut avoir qu'il soit, il faut qu'il termine ou vous dégagez lui-même, ou bien les femmes, ou bien c'est qui soit la famille de la militaire, qui, oh no. This is not something that I'm laughing because it is a disgusting. It is a disgusting. It is a disgusting. When civilian has the liberty to protest against an injustice, against a government that is imposed upon them. And so the people have the liberty. But when you see a military choose to side and open live bullets on the civilians that are demanding equality, freedom, then that military personnel shouldn't be in their neighborhood. And that is why I'm calling on the population of Douala to go into your neighborhood, look into the neighborhood, see who is La Republique military that is residing. Make sure you fish them out, get them out of your neighborhood. They shouldn't be in any existence of La Republique military because if you see a 4-star commissioner, that is the person that's supposed to maintain peace and security. But if he is opening fire on unarmed civilian population, then he doesn't need to be. And therefore, that is why every individual, because he is a commissioner, if he is a commissioner and then he's opening the fire, then what do you expect the infantry of the police force to do? To pick up the same exercise. So therefore, they shouldn't be in your neighborhood. Return to the neighborhood. Find out if there is any officer living in your neighborhood. Fish them out. Get rid of their property. Destroy everything today. That is the beginning of Waterloo until their leave. They either choose to relocate to Yaoundé, to the Etudi, or they shouldn't be in your neighborhood. Get down to New Bell Prison. Get down to the New Bell Prison. Make sure that that building shouldn't be exist. Get down to the New Bell Prison. That New Bell Prison shouldn't be exist. Get there. Make sure that every part of that New Bell Prison is turned on to the dust. Because that is where La Republique is picking up the citizens and dumping them because they are asking for equality and liberty and freedom. Because go down to New Bell Prison and tell New Bell that this is the people of Cameroon fighting for freedom. Go down to New Bell Prison. Release all the prisoners. This is what you must do. Fish them out and get them out. I mean, that is terrifying. That is terrifying. You know, you can imagine that military is turning using gun indiscriminately. And that is being led by the Douala Commissioner of Police. As you watch in these images, it is absolutely uncalled for. It is absolutely uncalled for. It is absolutely uncalled for. That is what is happening this morning. And that Barrister Ndoki, the fearless lawyer that fought fiercely against La Republique military, was shot this morning. But I am here to bring this attention to the world community, to notify that it is quite amazing that you have a military that is undisciplined, unfiltered, unresponsible, you can describe it more. But one has to question and ask, why is this terrible individual, Paul Biya? He was a prime minister in 1975. Paul Biya was a prime minister. Before becoming a prime minister in 1975, he was a secretary general at the presidency in Amadou Ahidjo's government. He was a secretary general prior to become prime minister. He was a secretary general in Amadou Ahidjo's government. In 1975, he was appointed prime minister. And in 1982, he became the president of La Republique. And since then, what career does he need? One question is still unanswered. What career does he need? He has been a president for an entire decade, for an entire century. Right now, he doesn't even know the wife's name. He doesn't recognize his family. He can't even recall the office he left a few minutes ago. And that is Paul Biya, and that is what is going on. You have a brutal military that stood fiercely and to suppress the citizens, but choose to side with Paul Biya. That is mentally deranged. Paul Biya cannot even recall the wife's name. He cannot recall when he's last meet. And that is why this terrorist military, they are supporting him irrespective of what he is doing. It is absolutely sad indeed. It is sad indeed. That is Barrister Michel Ndoki that was shot this morning. We don't know his conditions and how is she responding. This you can see her with a open wound that was shot and by this terrorist military. You all know Barrister Ndoki. She fought fiercely against the crippling result of elections that was conducted, and a certain individual, Paul Biya, was proclaimed as the winner. That absolutely was not merit. And that is why this is a fiercely lawyer that fought hard against injustice in La Republique. But she is shot this morning. You can see her. You can see the area, the open area. You can see it is absolutely terrifying. And this is Fundon Daniel speaking here from the great state of Texas about the ongoing crisis. And with respect to the people of Southern Cameroon, with respect to the people of Southern Cameroon. Yesterday was the horrifying day in Southern Cameroon. It was a terrifying day in Southern Cameroon, where 11 young men were brutally shot dead by La Republique military in Southern Cameroon. That was the darkest day. And those images are horrifying when you see a young able man of the Southern Cameroon were fiercely murdered, shot dead by La Republique terrorist military that are perpetrating violence against citizens. One will expect that the purpose of the military is to protect the indigenous populations. And that is why the people of Southern Cameroon, they want their own nations to be run by them. They don't want a military that has no order, no discipline. And let's look at what happened. That is a very barbaric act, slaughtering of the citizens of Southern Cameroon. It occurred yesterday. A young able man with a defined future. Their parents has do what they could, and they have done all they can to deliver the children. And the children grew up and reached at a point where they believe that assistance and support is coming from their children. And they were brutally murdered by the military of the neighboring country, La Republique in Southern Cameroon. As in these images, that is terrifying. But the question is, why are we living in this agony? Because we have the British government. We have the British government that superimposed on the citizens of Cameroon, citizens of Southern Cameroon, or now the Ambazonia, a nations that have their own value, cultural heritage that is contrary to the heritage of the people of Southern Cameroon. The people of Southern Cameroon believe in liberty and equality. They believe in a total freedom. They believe in a government of self-discipline. They believe in a government of accountability. They believe in a government that the people have the right to question the existence of such government. And that is why the people of Southern Cameroon are asking, where are we? How did we get here? It began when single-handedly, Ahijo, in 1968, removed Ngumjua and elected officials of the Southern Cameroon. Let's look forward. Well, that is the terrifying images that is coming in Southern Cameroon yesterday, when these young men were shot dead. Men become a high profile in Southern Cameroon. Young men in the entire Southern Cameroon have become a target by the military, terrorist military of La Republique that are targeting the young elder men that are looking for taking care of their family. But unfortunately, then they are being indiscriminately shot dead, murdered by a terrorist government of La Republique military that are currently residing in Southern Cameroon. That is why we ask this question. Why should they be in Southern Cameroon in the first place? What are we as a society? We in the diaspora. We all are being affected by these young men that their bright future has been taken indiscriminately by a terrorist military of La Republique, as you see in this image, horrifying images. You know, These are the
January, followed by
in other related story behind, we have a U.S. missionary. U.S. missionary. I mean, he could have stayed here in the United States and enjoyed the liberty and the freedom that exists here. He chose his family and chose Southern Cameroon as a dedicated place. He chose Southern Cameroon as a final place. He took his family from all the available resources, from all the opportunity that is here in this wonderful nation, United States. The liberty, the freedom, and the support that exists here. But he chose Southern Cameroon as a place of destiny. He took all his family. I mean, he's well placed. His brother is a Congress person. He's a Congress person. So in either way, he is capable to feed his family. He has all available things that one can ever name. But he chose Southern Cameroon as his final destination. He was called off by this brutal military of the neighboring country, La Republique, that is currently stationed in Southern Cameroon. Let's look at what. One thing that I keep on asking myself, what community of this society are we? This is the document that specifies the people of Southern Cameroon as a defined nation, people with self-identity, people with self-government, people with their goodwill. But unfortunately, we have the world community that absolutely, ignorantly turn a blind eye, and especially the British government. The British government is the architects of this chaotic scene. They took the document that was initiated, they took the document and hand over to the terrorist government of La Republique under a hijab. Despite the fact that within the several decades, they have been dealing with the people of Southern Cameroon. But in a terrifying means at the end, they choose to hand the document. And that is why Henriette Bowen, the current Secretary for African Affairs at the US government, he initiated a gas deal with the terrorist government of La Republique. Henriette Bowen has the audacity. Let's look at who is Henriette Bowen. Maybe when I call, you may not know who is Henriette Bowen. Let's look at who is she.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No one would deny that it is vitally important that we do everything we can to encourage innovation in the defence sector. But would you agree with me that in order to foster an environment in which innovation can flourish, business and industry has to trust what is said told by the government? And given that, would you take this opportunity to explain to the shipbuilding industry exactly why the copper bottom assurances that she gave on at least 4 occasions that the national shipbuilding strategy would be published before the autumn statement didn't deliver?
Your team writes too many emails to count. Primarily business makes each and every
around the world because we're that meeting place for global finance. a couple of years ago, the global investor sentiment was India was not very positive. Things have changed in the last couple of years. So
Trade also visited Cameroon in June.
That is Harriet Bowen. I'm sorry for the delay, but however, this is Harriet Bowen. He was more interested of the natural gas deal rather than the people of Southern Cameroon. This is one funny, sad story. You know, it is quite amazing that even though the people of Southern Cameroon has enjoyed a wonderful relationship, and under the British administrative authority, under the Enugu House of Assembly, that the people of Southern Cameroon, you can imagine that the massive killing that is going on in Southern Cameroon. She will tell the British government that there is a potential gas deal with this terrorist government of La Republique. It seems something is wrong with the British government when you have people like this and talking about a potential gas deal against the will of the people of Southern Cameroon. When you look at this murdering rate,
Attendez d'abord. 10 minutes. It happened today, the 5th of Jan.
These are citizens of Southern Cameroon that were brutally murdered. But however, Harriet Bowen says the gas deal will provide more revenue to the people of La Republique rather than the people of Southern Cameroon, that the resources is in their own territory, that is in their land. They are not even the beneficiary of the resources that is deposited in Southern Cameroon. But instead, Harriet Bowen, let's take a look at,
Out of that visit came, among other things, a multi-million-pound deal for a British company to exploit Cameroon's natural gas reserves, which are to be found in the southwest, where the violence we've been reporting is particularly bad. Today, Harriet Baldwin congratulated Paul Biya for winning another mandate. I asked her if that was the appropriate response, given the violence and the low turnout.
You're absolutely right that we have congratulated him on his re-election, but we have also, in our statement, said how concerned we are about the situation, particularly in the Anglophone region. And I was in Cameroon earlier this year.
That is British authority. They're congratulating an individual that never won an election. It seems their ambassador. One will expect the ambassador in La Republique to be more proactive. He's absolutely a silent individual. I don't know whether he writes report or how he does, but however, we do know that the silent ambassador, the British representative in the neighboring country, La Republique, is an individual that I don't know if he has a voice. You all imagine that a U.S. diplomat in the neighboring country has been outraged of all what is going on. But the ambassador of the British is silent because he's more interested in negotiating the gas deal. And with this Foreign Secretary for African Affairs, Harriet Bowie, that he has to congratulate Paul Biya for his election, so that the gas deal for the British government to be easily accessible and for the interest of the British Crown. Image is quite terrifying, deeply worrisome, that one will expect the British government to understand the fundamental value and human dignity that the people of Southern Cameroon, unjustly by the British Crown, transfer the document pertaining to the people of Southern Cameroon to the wrongful ownership, despite the fact that their relationship doesn't exist. Our people has a government of their own. They have had Endeles government, they have had Fonja's government, they have had Ngumjua's government, which Akijo in a single-handedly, with the control of the French authority, removed Ngumjua that was elected by the people of Southern Cameroon and replaced Tendemuna, that began the destruction of the people of Southern Cameroon to what is now found today. The people of Southern Cameroon are not dumb. They are people of intellectuals. They are people that are well educated. They are people that are asking this question to the British authority. Is that what the people of Southern Cameroon want? Is that what you do? Of course, you all know that one will appreciate the value and the culture of the British heritage. But unfortunately, when it comes to the British policy towards indigenous, and that is why the United States stood fiercely against the British Crown. And that is why they said, no representative, no taxation without a representative. That was the philosophy of this great nation, the United States. They stood fiercely against the British Crown, a corrupted system. No taxations without a representative. That was the philosophy of this United States against the British Crown. One will expect them to have learned a lot of lessons against what happened. But unfortunately, it is not. And that is why Harriet Bowie, the African Affairs under the British Theresa May's regime, has the audacity to congratulate Paul Biya as the newly elected, so that she can begin a new bilateral cooperation for a gas deal. And while the people, sons and daughters of the Southern Cameroon, have been murdered indiscriminately, like the massacre that occurred yesterday. Of course, you can speak, you can do nothing. So long as they go by their wishes, and the people continue to be murdered by a terrorist government of the neighboring country, like Republique DU Cameroon. Fellow brothers and sisters, we are at war. We know that the world community is the most corrupted society that we have on this planet. But we must stand for the freedom of our people. You know, I can imagine that I will sit here and talk about our people being discriminately murdered by unjust government implanted upon the people of Southern Cameroon. I am here to let the world know that Harriet Bowie, the British, whoever she is, because our people are guinea pigs that ought to be slaughtered and ought to be murdered at the will of any terrorist government. And that is why we are here. But however, I am here to assure my people on the ground zero that the blood that you sacrifice is not going to be in vain. You sacrifice the blood because you sacrifice for a good cause. Because when we are in an environment where the world ignores the factual things, and because they choose the wrong, and that is why Theresa May, she can't even stand and address the issue, despite the fact that collaboration relationship that exists between the people of Southern Cameroon and the British Crown. Why can't the people of Southern Cameroon manage their own economy? Why can't the people of Southern Cameroon enjoy their own freedom and liberty? Why must they be controlled by a foreign government? Because liberty and freedom is what the people are seeking. They're seeking a government that can represent them, a government that they will choose to elect, and it has existed before. It's not the first experience that I am speaking about. The people of Southern Cameroon voted Ndoki. He was unanimously elected by the people. And when he lose election, he became member of the House of Assembly in Southern Cameroon. And he was very loved to do whatever he thinks for the people of Southern Cameroon. Ndoki become prime minister, and then lose the election, become leader of the House of Assembly. And that is the most powerful gesture that the people of Southern Cameroon has enjoyed over freedom. But unfortunately, it didn't occur to the British Crown to look into this core value of the people of Southern Cameroon. They didn't see it. But however, they choose a terrorist government, the more core value, to supervise the people of Southern Cameroon. But I am here to this wonderful nation called United States. I am exposed this value that the people are going through agony and murdering by the terrorist government of La Republique, and that the British Crown, it doesn't occur to them to denounce La Republique and say they recognize the people of Southern Cameroon as a distinctive people of sovereign identity. But however, none of them is none of their business. And I am here to bring to the attention of the world community that our people have been murdered. Our people, despite the fact that they have their own sovereign identity, why must they be ruled by foreign nations? We are a people. We have a defined boundary. We have a defined territory. We have a value. We are recognized as a people. But yet, we must be colonized. We must be defined. We must be given what we can say. And we cannot have authority to say what we want. And that is why I am here to let the world community that our children's blood that have been sacrificed because the world turned a blind eye. But I am here to speak here. Bring this attention for this wonderful nation, the United States, and the fellow citizens of this great nation, the United States. It is quite amazing. I know many African Americans, they are not aware of what is injustice that is going on in Africa. It is going on because nobody is exposing it. It's going on because major media cannot stand and speak it up. You have the CNN, you have the Fox News. None of them can talk about it. But of course, that is the injustice that is going on in Africa, and that is perpetrated by the British government. You can't see Harriet Baldwin congratulating a terrorist government of La Republique, saying it is the most wonderful thing to do, to congratulate a terrorist over the people that are being slaughtered indiscriminately. Of course, one will expect the British government to act more responsible and experience they have got dealing with multiple nations across the globe. But unfortunately, you have the sleeping ambassador of the British that is currently residing in La Republique. Fellow world community, I know African, the dark color race. African, the dark color race, it doesn't be any meaningful for them to understand. But however, so long as many of them have been murdered indiscriminately, and that is why the British Crown has the audacity to congratulate Paul Biya for his election. Fellow citizens of this wonderful nation, I enjoy being in this citizen, being part of this nation. But however, what is absolutely wrong is when they choose injustice over the right thing to do. Imagine that the people of Southern Cameroon was never a conquered territory. But we have the French government. Let's look at France.
Emmanuel Macron is fighting for the survival of his presidency.
That is Emmanuel Macron. That is the French president. Of course, you see the rioting that occurred in France. But however, they were willing to solve the problems. But however, what is going on in Africa, especially the sub-Saharan Africa, where France has a policy towards them? Why? Do you have any refinery in Europe? Obviously, you will agree with me that there is no refinery in Europe. but yet they supply Europe all the various gas and various oil. They're being provided because they're being drained the African resources for the interest of the French authority. Why Africans are suffering and are being murdered? That is why we have phobia that is supported by the French authority, and that the citizens of Southern Cameroun are being murdered because of the Sonara, which is a French company that is draining the gas and sent to the French. But because we are shutting it down, that is why the demonstration began. A demonstration began because there is no longer supply. And that is why I'm urging our fellow Southern Cameroon, that Sonara in Limbe need to be destroyed. We need to be destroyed. The Sonara in Limbe need to be destroyed because our souls are being buried each day. Because the gas that comes there doesn't benefit the citizens of Southern Cameroon, but it benefits the French citizens. Why our people are living in a single loaf of bread in a single day? Africa needs to arise. Africa needs to stand for their freedom. Africa must stand for their freedom because our people cannot become the sufferer. Why the French benefit from their own distance. That is why when the gas was blocked, that is why rioting occurred for France, because they wanted to increase the price. They want to increase the price. And that is why rioting occurred in France. Let's look. That was the rioting that occurred in France. It occurred because an increase in the gas price. What are they saying? They're saying Emmanuel Macron, the investment banker who became the president of France, is using the money to fed the rich and against the interest. But now he is able to respond to the crisis. But our people, since how many of the Southern Cameroon citizens have been murdered by this terrorist government that have been imposed upon us and by a terrorist government of phobia, and that is why our gas will be shipped easily to the French, to feed the French, while our citizens basically have absolutely nothing to eat. But I am here to let you know that the citizens of Southern Cameroon, that Sonara shouldn't be in existence. Let's cut and destroy any linkage with the French, because that is the beginning of the freedom, of liberty for the people of Southern Cameroon. And elsewhere in Africa, if you have a government that is more concerned about the French, let's take a look at the relationship that exists between Africa and France. Does any of the 14 continents, 14 member nations of the Africa that have a relationship with France, has visa free to France? Just imagine that you travel to France. Have you ever noticed that when you travel through France and you have this color, the black race, you see the way you've been treated at the airport, just like an animal. They treat you like animals. I have my own experience that I had when I traveled through France. But they don't believe that the resources that generate from the Southern Cameroon and elsewhere in Africa is what that fed the French citizens. How many gas or petroleum are being produced in France? Absolutely zero. But however, all chemicals, all weapons, all gas in Africa are controlled by the French. Yet the citizens have basically no love of bread. And they have their military, their weapons, and they make sure they support who has to be draining those resources so that they can fight the French citizens. Why our people are being murdered indiscriminately? One will ask Harriet Bowie, who stood up and said, it's going to generate a lot of revenue. Why she is mentally deranged to understand that the people of South Africa are being murdered and killed indiscriminately. It doesn't occur to her to think about it and say, that is why the Commonwealth of Nations, they can't even dispose land public. They force land public and to keep land public. I don't know why you would ask this question. The people that enable the Commonwealth of Nations to keep is because of the people of Southern Cameroon. The entire population of Southern Cameroon has denounced land public, that they no longer be part of land public. And one will expect the Commonwealth of Nations to immediately terminate the relationship that exists. But however, the Bowing and the Theresa May government, they are still hoping that a change is going to occur. But unfortunately, I am letting the Bowing government or the Bowing or the Theresa May government that the people has risen. They cannot live together with La Republic. Fellow brothers, we are at war. We are at war. Let's look at what is going on in France.
The protesters want a fairer deal for working people. They've been clamouring for Mr. Macron's resignation.
Tous les politiques qui touchent des sommes importantes, mais pour le peuple, il reste que des miettes.
Who are they standing for? Who are they supporting? And guess who they are supporting? Paul Biya. Let's look at who the idiot is. Close your mouth.
Snap your W2 and file that and
C'est poulet.
dignitaries. This will be at the Unity Palace. At this point, all the members of the diplomatic corps from reports reaching us are already en place in the
sorry for the time that it takes to pull out that information. But anyway, you know, it is quite sad. It is quite sad. This is the terrorist individuals that is still in power. Imagine this guy, he was a prime minister in 1975. Imagine, in 1975, he became the prime minister. And prior to that, he was the secretary general at the presidency under Amadou Ahidjo government. So you calculate the math and know how old he has been in power. 1975, he became the prime minister. Prior to that, he was the secretary general at the presidency under Amadou Ahidjo government. Another brutal dictatorship that has been in power for close to 25 years. Then obviously, that is why I spoke about Javier Barrow. He congratulated him. He has been in power for 36 years. And now he is subsequently going on to become still another president. He's 37 and how old? He's 86 years. This guy is mentally deranged. He's mentally challenged. He can't even recall the wife's name. He can't even recall where his room is. He can't even remove. To be honest with you, it is quite amazing that this fixture that they have at the helm of La Republique, the world community, that is why the British government acquiesced Javier Barrow the audacity to congratulate him, because they are more interested in the natural gas deal rather than the people of Southern Cameroon. That is why, even though the British have been dealing with the people of Southern Cameroon, a people with defined distinctive identity. As I spoke before, I said the people of Southern Cameroon has enjoyed a defined democratic government. They have enjoyed a dignity government, a government that the people elect their own representative. And they elect their own representative. That's why it began with Ndele. When Ndele was elected as the president of the Southern Cameroon, and when he lose the subsequent election, he became leader of the member of parliament or assembly in Southern Cameroon. And he was working in collaborating for the efficiency and effective government of the people of Southern Cameroon. And that is why the people of Southern Cameroon has enjoyed a distinctive change of leadership. And subsequently, Jongo Foncha, subsequently, Ngumjua. Ahidjo in 1968 single-handedly removed Ngumjua and appointed Tende Muna. That became the Battle of Waterloo for the people leadership of Southern Cameroon. And that is why this terrorist individual in 1984 single-handedly abolished the Southern Cameroon territory and named what it became today La Republique. It seems the people of Southern Cameroon is non-existent, has been wiped out of the map. And that is why we have a certain dogma they call Anglophone leadership of certain individuals. And that is why a Kema party, the dullest individual that has a PhD that is not found to any university. I don't know how he got a PhD, but he's a mayor in the council, but he claims he has a PhD. And when you look at the various universities, there is no university where his name is found to have a PhD. I would rather have what I have and to be well known than to have a PhD that no university can be able to identify my presence. And that is why you have a mayor of a Kenya. That is in line with those individuals. You have another dogma individual that have been appointed a prime minister. That is in line of Ahidjo 1968 decree. Remove Ngumjua, an elected person of the Southern Cameroon, and replaced by someone appointed by decree. And so because his signature over the people of Southern Cameroon is not welcome. Fellow brothers and sisters, I know we have sacrificed our soul, but we will continue to sacrifice our soul, because if we have to live in freedom, then we must sacrifice our soul. We know those whose lives and blood has been bleeding in Southern Cameroon over the will of the people to govern themselves. But we must stand straight. We must let the world, we must inform them, we must educate them, because even though we educate them, they have ignorance of the reality of the truth. But we must stand and educate them. But one will stand, I imagine what I see from the media, they call the separatists. This is the word it defines a separatist. A separatist is when you are separating from an existence, a government that is part of you. But the people of Southern Cameroon, when La Republique single-handedly, by Ahijo, appoint Tende Muna, violate the law of the people of Southern Cameroon, the world did not denounce it. The world saw it as a legitimate. Paul Biya, in a single-handedly, in 1984, signed a decree, abolished the people of Southern Cameroon, and named it La Republique. And the people of Southern Cameroon is non-existent. The British government has the audacity and described us as a separatist. Who is separating from who? The British government that has long history, the relationship that exists between the people of Southern Cameroon and the fellow neighboring country La Republique. We have no legal marriages. It's just a coexistence that we be living together. And we have the choice to decide our destiny. We have the entire leaders of the Southern Cameroon that are languishing in La Republique jail. La Republique has no legal authority to place our people in jail. But now they're languishing. They basically have no food. They even refuse food that are being taken to provide to them. Hello, fellow brothers. But Harriet Bowie has the authority to say he congratulates an elected president of the Southern Cameroon. That the beginning assimilation and distorting the reality from the Southern Cameroon. It didn't occur to Harriet Bowie to call the La Republique to order that the decision you are taking against the people whom we share a fundamental value. They wouldn't even speak about it. Even the Theresa May government remains silent as though nothing is happening. You have a New Zealand ambassador of the British Crown that is residing in La Republique. It can't even talk. I am very indebted to the US ambassador that stood and said, no, I denounce this behavior. But United States cannot do everything. But British need to do their part. But when you have an ambassador of the British that is in La Republique, are more concentrated in a national gas deal to sign rather than the liberty of the people. It seems history has forgotten. I am sure those who are in Britain, they don't read history. Neither is a compulsory subject. But here in the United States, you learn history because you want to know what is happening. But it becomes a compulsory subject for people to learn and know the truth. But however, the Bowie government or the Bowie government or the Theresa May government, it doesn't occur to them to understand that the people of Southern Cameroon were never a colonial territory of La Republique. They were never a colonial territory of La Republique. But unfortunately, that is why when the US ambassador speaks about the people of Southern Cameroon and unwanted murder of the citizens, but the Harriet or the Bowie or the Theresa May government, they are more interested in the natural gas deal over the sovereign people. And you didn't have the Commonwealth of Nations. They could not even terminate the relationship that exists. That the people of Southern Cameroon, La Republique came in because of the people of Southern Cameroon. But yet, they don't see it as an issue. But they see a natural gas for the French to be fed, for the British to be fed, and why the people of Southern Cameroon become the slaughtering house. Fellow brothers and sisters, and injustice of this world community is something that one would never regret. But we all have to speak it out and speak it out to the rest of the world to understand that the British will never be regarded as the people we trusted. Because if they can take the document pertaining to the people of Southern Cameroon and denounce and choose natural ground while our sons and daughters are being murdered indiscriminately. Fellow brothers, this is Fulton Daniel exposing it to the citizens of these wonderful nations. I am taking a moment to thank all of you for watching, and that I will continue to denounce the British Crown, that our people is fighting for their liberty, and that our natural resources, I can imagine a Russian president, Vladimir Putin, that the natural resources in Africa is more than the natural resources in Europe. But yet, Europe is the richest from Africa exploitation to feed their citizens. That is why you see the rioting that occurred in France because of the gas. And that is why I am deploying our brothers and sisters back home. That sonora that lead French to the people of Southern Cameroon for exploitation, that thing needs to be destroyed. It's better we don't have it than have it that is better benefiting the government of Emmanuel Macron and the French citizens, while our people basically has absolutely nothing to eat. It is quite terrifying, but I have no more. But I am going to continue that our people must be live free, that the Sonara, that building, need to be bring down so that we know we don't have anything, that to have something that is benefiting Emmanuel Macron and his cohabit people, La Republique DU Cameroun, that they use weapons to suppress our people. And have yet bound congratulatory messages to support La Republique over the people of defined territory, the southern Cameroon, and elsewhere in Africa, because a genuine democratic government cannot prevail because they continue to destabilize so that they have someone that is going to drain the resources and fed them in Europe, while our people are living in a barely mingled bread and the crumbs, and they cannot survive. If they have shown genuineness, they should have suspended La Republique from the Commonwealth of Nations. They should. But do you expect them to do something? No, they sit there and congratulate themselves for job well done for exploiting the African indigenous. Yes, fellow brothers and sisters, this is the world community that we expect that we are living in, but we must stand and denounce it. Wish you all a happy and wonderful day.